I'm Jonathan Worsley, and I'm delighted to be hosting this FHS podcast for the Future Hospitality Summit taking place in Riyadh shortly. And I'm here with the president and CEO of Louvre Hotels for the Middle East, North Africa, Pakistan, and Georgia. A very, very warm welcome to Amine Moukarzel. Amine, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always a pleasure and to share with you and to face any given situation you may address us to share with our distinctive audience. Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you back on board. I mean, it's been a year since we last spoke, so this is a really good catch up. So now tell me, a year on, what has delighted you? What has challenged you? What has surprised you in the last year?
What has delighted us is to see the turnaround in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to see the change and to witness the change, and also to have witnessed what Dubai has achieved with the Expo and what we have definitely also shared with our target audience and owners. What has challenged us is what we have experienced nearly a year anniversary of the war and its implication between Russia and Ukraine and the hostile environment we still experience and the challenge in our region. What surprised me, I think, with all these years, we keep on getting more wisdom. And what surprised us is very few elements, but the change in the contribution of the oil sector to the tourism sector more and more in the Arab world and in particular into the Gulf countries.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, Amin. And in terms of the challenges that the region you've mentioned about the war, etc. How has Louvre, how has Golden Tulip, the company you run, how has it adapted during the past year?
The challenges were inherited from the previous pandemic year of the COVID 19, of what was frozen as a project or what was postponed as a project. These were the challenges to reactivate and to rebirth some of these projects. As such, it was always indeed the perseverance that was important. New projects have been mushrooming, but based upon the projects that were beforehand delayed, like projects we had in Medina, in Saudi Arabia, and in the holy city of Mecca, those were to be reactivated and replanned, as 3 years of delays are definitely challenges to reactivate and to rejuvenate such projects into your portfolio and into establishing the criterias of owners, operators, and project management and consultants. 3 years ago, we were talking about the millennials, and now we are talking about again a change in the pattern and in the habits as well as the conditions of travel. So today we see and we witness those challenges accordingly, and we cope with at all level, from a development to pre-opening all the way to operating. And this has created a new avenue for us to tailor make our training resources accordingly.
Give us some examples of how you've changed then, and have how you've adapted to your consumers. And also, are you leading the change, or is it the consumers that are leading the change?
No, we serve the change. I think day by day we need to learn more and more, and we need to cope by serving such a change at all times. A, we have a new development at the government institutions. Some of the associations or ministries have changed their rules and regulations due to the issues learned the last 2 3 years. So we serve that particular change by responding, and thereafter, I wouldn't say by leading the change, but by serving the change and by coping to the change, and then by taking new initiatives as well. So, to be proactive, you need to foresee certain avenues of what you as a consumer by the end and what you learn by your customer. So, today with the social media and today with the high exposure we witness at all levels, your customer, before he checks out, he send you the comments of his stay and his review. And before he reaches his next destination, you need to respond to his requirements and to his needs and to such initiatives. And everyone teach us a certain level of how to cater to new opportunities, to learn of new motivation, and to establish new standards. And this is why we have launched uh, recently very heavily our consumer change requirements of the branding standards required from their stay to their check-in all the way to their checkout. But guess what is important also during their stay? What is their motivation? Their motivation is the hygiene, is the standards, is the technology, and the availability of resources to cater to their needs.
But I mean, this is something that the industry has not been good at, is the whole technology, data, knowing our clients, knowing who the consumer is, long check-ins, checkouts. So is that something that's been a priority then for Louvre to tackle this area?
As you know, and as it is today, it is not as easy as it is contemplated by either the technology provider or the technology receiver, which is the hotels. But traditionally speaking, hotels have been traditionally operated. And until now, we realize that we have several hotels, whether with our chain or with other hotel chains or what we hear about. They are traditionally operated, not to say the old school concept, but for new projects, technology is helping more than the old projects because those traditional hotel operator or hotel general managers and their team are not only resenting the change, but they need to learn about such a change. And we provide them the grounds to learn, and we provide them the grounds of technology to learn more. And these are provided through the system and the technological approach to our system of reservation and system of customer service to respond to customer needs more frequently and more efficiently and faster. And these we will see getting better, I think, with the next generation. I still learn from my team and I still learn the technological gimmicks from the young generation in our hotel, how to behave and how to address and how to do things. So these things will take us more and more, and we as hotel operators, we have to work on it even further.
No, absolutely. But I can see this is obviously one of your key selling points when you're meeting with owners is the technology platform you're developing, but also what are you doing in terms of sustainability? Because that's something that always comes up when you're speaking to owners. And, how are you driving change when it comes to looking at the whole ESG requirements that owners are needing and requiring?
Hotel chains, since I remember 35 or 40 years, have worked on sustainability, but this is more theoretical in hotels until today than it is in practice, and to see more result. On the short term, A, it is more expensive. B, it is more rewarding on a longer term. And C, what remains important for us is we need to have more of the local government putting more conditions on construction standards all the way to the standards of operating with all the sustainability issues. So, to have a strong and a result oriented sustainability drive, we require to have this from the design stage. So, the old hotels may suffer in this regard, as we experience that many hotels now that were highly regarded as operating in the 70s and the 80s, they became aged. So they need to change their attitude to their assets, to their capital expenditure, all the way to its operating standard. You know, some hotels say to save money, if you wish not to wash your bed linen or your towels, keep it or put it or do with it XYZ. And this is only what they look at sustainability. But sustainability is not only this, it's not only to recycle the garbage, it's a commitment, and it is a from A to Z delivery process from the source of the construction of the assets, of the brand standards, all the way to a local partnership between hotels and local municipalities. And this should be driven, very important, on each conference for municipality, for better logistics, for better recycle and reuse, and also for tourism intakes. And this is what we witness today, that with sustainability, customers are looking at hotels having more sustainability driven politics than others.
I also think it's storytelling as well. So the ability to for hotels to storytell and showcase what they're doing, because often if you're a guest and staying in a hotel, the only thing you hear of is the bed towels or the towels, and to hang them up. But there's so many more stories that you're doing and the industry is activating, but we don't hear about. And I think there's a huge opportunity on that side as well. Um, and then tell me a little bit. You've got the four brands, and I'm particularly interested in the mid market. We've seen a lot of development in the luxury sector, particularly in Saudi. So let's focus on Saudi for a minute here. Why is it, do you think, that with your brands, and maybe you can just briefly explain your four brands, why do you believe there's an opportunity for those brands in Saudi versus some of the others? We've got so many brands now in our industry. What makes your brands different, and why would an owner select one of your brands?
Great question that is asked every now and then. Why me? And sometimes I ask my owners or my prospects, and you have different type of opportunities that may arise. One, you are sometimes selected or shortlisted from a consultant appointed by the owner. One, you have an owner that comes and knock at your door because he likes your brand and he likes your reputation. Three, you go yourself and you knock at their door. Four, you are recommended by a friend, and so on. What remains important is A, owner's relationship. B, write them down, please. B, you have also a transparent approach. C, no hidden agenda in your management and or franchise agreement. D, relationship with owner representatives, and here is the main aspect. The owner representatives and his people around him are key to damage or to highlight the brand deliverables and requirements. Then A, B, C, D, E, you have the system you deliver. Six, you have the issues raised in the process of how many years you have been serving the industry. Seven, who believes in you as a person. And eight, how you establish a personal relationship with the owner. And when you have a handshake and when you have the system, but you have to deliver. You are in a hotel. Today, the hotel is a business. Now, you have several aspects to look at. In the 70s, in the 60s and 70s, these were the years of having only the top brands and the top limited brands, which were related to government spending. Uh, Governments wanted to build hotels to receive their visitors, to accommodate their customers and their visitors, and they were looking at five-star, and they were government. Then came the leading families into the private sector. Today, you can develop one of our hotels, and you can develop three of our hotels, three of our brands versus one five-star or luxury hotel of the top-notch classification of five-star hotels. And the return on investment is even quicker in this regard. This is why you see mushrooming all these hotels. So people come to us, hey, for these, what I call brand emotions, and that I listed the 8 pieces or 9 pieces, and B, for the system emotions that are the brand equity, the system deliverables, the loyalty programs, the know how, and the technological drive of what is required. And then the third faucet is, or the first fundamental pillar is the operating and the return on investment that is provided by maintaining the first emotion and the second drive into delivery of this particular property to be with the highest owner return expectation.
No, I like the answer, but tell me a little bit about the product and which product or brand are you most excited about right now in Saudi?
Each product may differ from one market to the other in terms of its positioning and requirements. Let me give you this example. In North Africa, where we succeed and where we have been pretty successful in operating hotels, we don't see a great niche of hotel, apartment, or extended stay or residences yet. In some marketplaces, franchising and operating also is a little bit different than the Gulf or other Arab countries. Why? Because the system in Algeria is different than the system in Tunisia or in Libya or in Egypt, all the way in comparison to the Gulf states. So, one of the brands that are successful for us, and it was the number one brand in hospitality and liked by all the developers, all governments, and all institutions, and where we had a great deal of momentum is the Golden Tulip.
And is that on the resident side that you're seeing growth?
No, this is the Golden Tulip brand itself, not the Tulip residences. It's the Golden Tulip hotel brand. And building upon the Golden Tulip brand success in the 70s and the 80s, the company is now 62 years of age, and I call it 62 years young because we have rejuvenated and we have adapted the brand standards 5 years ago. Then came the development of what is required in the GCC countries and in some of the Arab countries, which is the extended stay of tulip residences. Also, what followed suit is the mid scale or the budget hotel sector of hotels with the Campanile brand. And these are witnessing momentum of a growth that is unprecedented. We have today 7 hotels under development under the Tulip Residences proposal. And we have also Campanile following suit. And why is that? Because it's a standard product. It's not an expensive product to build for the developer and for the hotel owner. And it is an opportunity to show management with all benefits you have into any 5 star or any 4 star or any hotel chain. So the benefits remain the same. The product itself is tailor made to be to the new consumer. And as we always say, this is important to have my ROI addressed from day one with the owners. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my owners in a given capital in the Arab world, and he mentioned to me, I trust you and I believe you. I want to give you my hotel. But should this trust is having some hurting scenarios, which means after 2, 3 years, you as operator, you don't provide me with the profit I aim to pay my investment to the bank. What do I do?
Well, I think it's all down to trust, isn't it?
I want to terminate my agreement if I'm not having the ratio to pay my bank and the ratio to have some profit for me to live with. So the developer criteria has changed. It's not anymore a government investment or a big group investment. It's also a family investment that you need to take care of and you need to make profit. So the brand, to go back to the initial base of the question, the brand itself today, with many brands each company has, we have today 11 or 12 brands. And some other hotel chains have reached even the 18 to 20. Why are these brands evolving? Is to cater to the diversification of the consumer needs and the diversification of a brand's motivation, as well as into the investment opportunities return on that investment. So the Campanile, the Tulip residences for us are important. What was the brands 20 years ago are not the same today. And if you take the brands of 20 years ago, they have evolved, they have merged, and you know about all these acquisitions, not to promote other brands, but if we take about our hotels, we started with Golden Tulip, then we had Tulip Inn, then we had Royal Tulip, now we have Tulip Residences, and we may have a fifth one next year. Okay, these are forming part of Louvre Hotel, and in Louvre Hotel we have Premier Class, we have Campanile, we have Kiryat, we have Kiryat Direct. Today, I have 7 Kiryat hotels operating in the Middle East region as a new brand of a French origin. And why is that? Is because of what you said, why they select us. Part of Louvre Hotel Group: integrity, transparency, owners' relationship, and definitely talent development, and sustain those best asset for us.
One area we didn't touch on here is the whole issue of staffing, and how are you dealing with that? Because that is probably the key issue that continues to come up, and how Saudi, for example, is going to have to hire 1 million people or so in the industry over the next 10 years. What are you doing to assist with that?
I have a saying that we don't hire, we don't recruit, we select. We select people, and people select us. And when you appear to the mid range, and this is your value proposition, we are not always the five-star hotel. We have some very much leading five-star hotels, like the hotel we have in Neom at present. We are the first hotel to be in Sharma, which is now part of Neom, and the first Royal Tulip that has been serving as the hotel for the high dignitaries in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And when I wanted to do this hotel, people thought I was stupid to be there doing that hotel in nowhere in Sharma, which is now part of NAME. So, with your visionary issue, as you have young people, you develop, look at the drive of Saudization, how important it is. I feel so great when I reach my hotel in Riyadh, the Golden Tulip Riyadh, and I have ladies and the gentlemen at the reception greeting me and making the check-in for me. Why? This is the young generation you have for the future. 20, 30 years ago, they will come back to you and say, you remember, it is on my CV, I was in that hotel. And this is where you have to select your people, not to hire your people. Many other job opportunities are available. And as you know, this is one of the leading industries in the world for the human capital. So I think the most important is to train them, to select them, to motivate them, and to really indulge in them this particular passion that we have ourselves, and for them to reach the self motivation. It's an industry that is not easy. It's a difficult yet motivating and learning opportunities. Plus, when you grow your hotels and they see the growth, they can grow with you in their momentum of uh, their career.
Excellent. Well, Amin, you're always an inspiration to speak to. Love what you've been doing. We're going to see you soon at the Future Hospitality Investment Summit in Riyadh, 7th to the 9th of May. I hope you're going to be there, Amin, and take care, and we shall see you soon.
Thank you. All the best. Look forward to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Future Hospitality Summit podcast. For more information, visit www.futurehospitalitysummit.com.